There's a voice deep inside every dad calling him to lead. Society, vices, inner demons, negative thoughts try to dampen and drown out that voice, but it never goes away. Your wife feels it, your children feel it, and your heart and soul feel it too. It's the voice that starts off as a whisper, but then becomes a calling to be the tip of the spear for your family. A calling to play all out and lead by example for your children. A calling to build a legacy that will go on for generations. A calling to be the warrior dad you were born to be. Dads, our children need us now more than ever to be that beacon of hope, courage, positivity, and strength. It's time to rise as warrior dads together as a brotherhood. If you felt that twinge in your soul, it's time for the Warrior Dad Experience. Super excited to dive in today. Never enough time and your legacy as a dad. I'm your host, Jeff Wickersham, founder of the Warrior Dad, creator of the Warrior Dad Experience. And let's jump right in, right? Love giving you fellow dads that are in the fight day in and day out, tools, strategies, tactics, actions that you can take to move the needle, whether it's personally, as a dad, as a leader, or it's professionally. And both of those are very important, right? We can't have one without the other. We want to crush life in both areas, and I say you can. You're going to hear this common narrative that you can't be great personally, then you're going to suffer professionally. Can't be great professionally, you're going to suffer personally. I think you can have both. I know from my experience. So we're going to dive into never having enough time and then your legacy as a dad. If you have questions during the show, drop them in the comments. I'll see if I can't answer them for you. Never enough time. If you hear yourself say that, or you've got that narrative playing in the back of your mind, never enough time, or I'm always so busy, or I'm too busy, or when somebody asks you the question, how was your day? Your default answer is it was busy. This is for you. And I hear this from a lot of dads that I speak to, whether they become clients and jump into the Warrior Dad Experience, or they say, you know what? I just got too much on my plate. I'm too busy. I don't have any time. There's never enough time. This is for you, right? This next 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to dive into some powerful things, powerful perspectives, make you aware of some things that might just change the lens, change the frame at which you see things. So if you say those things, never have enough time, I'm always busy. Somebody asks you, how'd your day go? Oh, it was just busy. Number one, we need to change the language we speak with. When I hear busy, and you're not alone, 95, 98% of people speak that way. They say, I'm just busy. To me, when I hear that, that means you're back on your heels, you're being reactive, and you have zero control over your schedule. I also like to future pace and ask the question, do you want to look back on your life? You're at the end of your life. You're on your deathbed. Do you want to look back and say, man, life was just busy? I don't think so. So language is very, very important. That word busy, I'd love you to replace that with productive. It was a productive day. Because 9 times out of 10, it was. But you're changing how you're seeing things. You're changing the frame. You're changing the lens of how you're seeing things. Were you maybe stressed? Did you have a lot going on? I absolutely guarantee you do. 99% of people do. I do on a daily basis. But I choose to speak about the productivity, not the busyness. I focus on the positive versus the negative. And it's no fault of our own. That's how we're wired, right? We have a negative slant in our minds. If you've ever heard of caveman brain, we're wired to negativity. Caveman brain is if something triggers your body's fight or flight system, We think there's a saber-toothed tiger out there ready to kill us. It amplifies it. It sticks with us. We're wired towards negativity. I would challenge you, though, if you find yourself without time, if you feel like one day becomes two, becomes four, becomes a week, a month, a year, and life is flying by, you got to hit stop on that never-ending treadmill of life. You got to step off. First powerful way I love to get change is, how do we speak about what we're doing? Oh, I'm always so busy. Oh, I'm busy. It just feels like a burden, right? It feels heavy on your shoulders. Versus the flip side of how I like to speak. It was a productive day. I kicked butt today. It was a legendary day. Imagine bringing that to the table day in and day out. Imagine answering that question. Maybe your kids ask you, how was your day, Dad? Maybe your wife asks, how was your day? It was a legendary day. One, they're going to be shocked. Two, you're going to give them a different perspective, a different frame to see life in. We're going to talk about your legacy as a dad. That's a powerful way to lead by example for your kids as a dad. On the flip side, do you want to, when they ask, how was your day, Dad? Hey, hon, how was your day? I was busy. So busy. So much going on. You are expressing to your kids, you're setting the example to your children that you have zero control, that that's the way life is meant to be lived. It's not. No way. So if you can change the language, how you speak about things, focus on the positive rather than the negative, I'm sure you crushed a lot in your day. I'm sure you were pretty darn productive. Why not reinforce that at the end of the day versus saying you're busy? Powerful perspective. As I like to say, it only takes one dad to change a family tree forever. It only takes one word, replacing one word in how we speak. And it can change how we see things. It can change how we operate. It can take away our energy. I'm so busy. I'm so tired. It was just a busy day. Or it can give us energy, right? It can pump us up. That was a legendary day. I was productive as heck. I kicked butt. How about you guys? Who the heck is this guy? Right? If we want our families, our wives, our kids to operate at a high level, we need to do it ourselves. So that belief, that default pattern of never enough time, I'm too busy, my plate's full, I don't have nothing left, I have no bandwidth. It's a lie, first off. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Right? Rock, love The Rock. He does amazing things. He's got the same 24 hours in a day I do. Presidents of countries, they have so many things. They have the same 24 hours in a day I do. They're productive. They're on their toes. They're on the attack. That's the warrior dad way. We get on our toes. We attack from the moment the alarm clock goes off. We're stacking wins. We're being productive. We're attacking what we want to accomplish personally and professionally. So number one, just think about that language and how you speak about things. Very, very important. Change the language, change the frame. All of a sudden, you see yourself as that productive person. All of a sudden, you see yourself as on the attack. You know what will be the byproduct from that? More time. More time in your day for what you truly want to lean into. Maybe it's time with the family. Maybe it's time to exercise. Maybe it's time to read a book. Maybe it's just time to unwind. 15, 20 minutes, taking a pause from your day in the middle of the day to recharge so you can crush it in the afternoons. So important. That narrative, never enough time, too busy, I'm so busy. It's a lie. You're just not prioritizing. You're not seeing it from a different way. So that's number one. Just wanted to bring that up, make you aware of it and how powerful your language can be to how you operate day in and day out. Number two, you're wasting time. That's why you don't have any. Crazy when you extrapolate out the numbers. Just 15 minutes a day. If you do something for 15 minutes a day for an entire year, you will basically waste almost 4 days. It's like 3.8 days. I guarantee you're wasting at least 15 minutes. It's probably on the upper end of the scale, right? 30 minutes, 7.6 days per year that you're wasting. 60 minutes, if that's on social, on something that's not productive. Now, I don't mean that you have to be productive every second, every hour, every minute of the day, but think about these numbers when you're stuck doing something that's unproductive. 60 minutes a day taken for an entire year is 15.2 days. 2 hours, a full month, 30 days of your year. If you're wasting it 2 hours a day, you're losing a full month of your year. I always love to think about the science, do some math related to that. I'm a little bit of a science and math nerd when it comes to that stuff, but it's powerful when you have the information. Sure, you could check your phone. Maybe you've been on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is. 2 hours. You're basically wasting a month of your year. Think about that. In 12 years, you will have wasted a year of your life, a full year, to one of those apps, one of those time sucks that we inevitably fall into. 2 hours a day is a full month a year. Powerful to think about when you're using that excuse that I don't have time or I never have time. Great to be aware of the language as well as the numbers. Makes you think about, okay, hey, if it's 2 hours, I need to at least back it back to an hour. You split it in half, you get 2 weeks of your year back to be more productive, to attack life, to do things that truly will light you up, to lead your family the way you know you want to. So incredibly powerful to think about that when we extrapolate out the numbers. So what can you do? What are ways that I love to coach, I love to do myself to maximize your time, right? We're not going to get more of it. We got to maximize what we have because we all have the same 24 hours. Number one, respect time and be on time. When you respect time and you're on time yourself, others will respect your time. Powerful concept to share with your children. Punctuality. That's a rare thing these days. Being on time is a rare trait and value to have. You want to set your kids up for success? You want to have them stand out in life? Ensure that they're on time. It's not easy. It's a challenge for my 15-year-old. We got to get them moving. I stress to them all the time, you got to be on time. People are expecting you. Be on time. Respect time. Time will respect you. That's number one. Number two, have some standards about how you operate. I have a lot of calls with dads that are considering jumping into the Warrior Dad experience. Those dads have 3 minutes to jump on the Zoom. If they're not there in 3 minutes, I go on to something else. If you can't respect my time, it's most likely not going to be a good fit. Do things happen? Do we reschedule from time to time? Yes. But at 3 minutes, I drop off. Very, very powerful. Have a standard to operate from. I've had instances where dads have missed multiple calls. Hey, can we jump on it? Nope, sorry. You didn't respect my time. It's not a good fit. My time is important to me. I want to maximize my days. I want to maximize the time I have with my family, my 2 boys. So respect time, be on time, as well as have standards. How do you want to operate from? When you're doing any of these things, you always got to share it with your family, share it with your kids. Set the example, be the leader, but then share the journey with them. That's how they learn the most. That's been one of my greatest discoveries in my dad journey is I used to kind of lecture or tell when my boys were younger. Now I just share what I do. They get curious. Then all of a sudden they start implementing things, or they ask questions. When they start asking questions, then I can guide, lead, be a dad to them in their journey. So respect time, be on time, have standards. Another piece is stop being reactive, meaning we are so reactive and wired to be reactive on what other people need. If you're getting constantly pinged by text messages on your phone, if you're getting dinged by direct messages on social media, if on your work laptop you're getting email notifications popping up, even if it's the little email icon down in the bottom right-hand portion of the screen, you are letting outside influences impact your time. You're basically saying that those are more important than what you're doing currently. You want more time back? You've got to put up some barriers. You've got to have standards around when people can get a hold of you. Drives my wife nuts and my son's nuts. My phone is always on Do Not Disturb. I don't want outside influences impacting my productivity. There's that word again, right? I want to be productive. I want to be efficient. I want to run real fast. I want to be on my toes and taking action, attacking life. I don't need to be constantly hit with other people asking of things that might not be relevant. So eliminate some of those distractions. You eliminate distractions, it's amazing how much more focused you can be. Cal Newport has a great book, Deep Work. He says focus in the workplace is going to be one of the differentiating factors for people crushing it, because it's so rare these days. People aren't focused. They don't have the ability to go deep and really get things done. They're constantly being pinged, constantly being pulled in every different direction. It's no wonder why anxiety, depression, overwhelm, burnout are at all-time highs. I know I've shared this with dads in the experience, but we get hit with more stimuli in 1 week than our ancestors did 100 years ago, because we're constantly are getting pulled in each different direction. So put up some barriers. So important to do. Lastly, on how do we get more time back? And this is definitely on the business side. Set an agenda, especially if you're leading meetings, with times related to how much time you're going to dedicate to a particular topic that you're running with. I do this in all of my weekly calls through the Warrior Dad Experience. I give a topic, how much time we're going to cover it. What do I do on those calls? I make sure I have a timer counting down so I know how much time we've got for a particular topic. That keeps me efficient. It also sets the expectation for the dads I'm coaching. Hey, we're going to spend 20 minutes on this, 10 minutes on this, 15 minutes on that. If you're not doing it, or it's not a company standard wherever you work, or if you run a business, if you implement that, that is going to have a huge impact on your productivity. In addition, when you set a meeting, let's say it's for an hour, set it for only 50 minutes. Give people 10 minutes of their day back. I mean, think about the power of that. One, you're setting times, how much each topic is going to take. You're taking control of the meeting. You're making sure those times and we stay on target, and you give somebody 10 minutes of their day back. Imagine if everybody did that in your organization. Imagine if 6 of those hour meetings, everybody got 10 minutes of their day back. Math again, 10 minutes times 6, 60 minutes. You do that over a year, you get 2 weeks of productivity back. Small, simple things compound. They add up as you go through. So those are some strategies you can absolutely implement. Highly recommend you dive into those. Watch the replay, take notes, put it into action. Right? Knowledge is useless if we don't take action upon it. We've got all kinds of knowledge. We have a lack of action. That's why we stay stuck, stay where we're at. So let's move in with the remaining time, your legacy as a dad. This is something I think about on a daily basis. And my late mother, our last deep conversation, I posted out on socials recently about the conversation we had. I was taking her to a treatment, University of Penn down in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we talked about her legacy. She was scared she would be forgotten. When we get to the end of our lives, dads, it's going to be about our legacy. It's going to be about the impact we had. It's going to be about the future generations. Did we do enough to set them up for success? Did we pour into our kids, our grandkids? Are they going to tell stories about us that will live on forever, that will be passed down generations? At the end, that's what's going to truly matter. And I know personally, when my mom shared that story, her fear about being forgotten, her fear of her grandkids not knowing her, because they were very young at the time. It was nearly 9 years ago. My boys were 6 and 4 at the time. That's what's going to truly matter. So what can we do today to ensure that legacy, to ensure that maybe we didn't have a good childhood growing up? Maybe we want to break the generational chain. That's so incredibly powerful to operate from day in and day out, right? How we operate as a dad, how do we operate as a leader? And do not discount the fact that you are the leader of your family. You are. Number one, gotta bring energy. Energy is contagious. Do you know that when you give out energy, we're all electrical beings? There's like an 8-foot radius that goes out from our bodies, right? You can feel somebody's energy when you're next to them. You want to create a legacy? Operate at a high energy level. Be that energetic force that your kids and your wife, your spouse inherently feel. They'll walk past you. They'll feel your energy. People can feel it. They're going to want to be around it. That's another piece to the puzzle. You want your kids to want to spend time with you? You better be an energetic, positive force. Why? They'll want to be around it. If you're negative, if you're complaining, if you have a woe is me mentality, your kids aren't going to want to be around you, right? You're an energy vampire, taking their energy away from them. So energy is contagious, right? It's so powerful to think about, to bring that each and every day. So that's number one. Think about your energy. I mentioned this earlier. Number two, share your journey. What have you learned? What do you want to share with your kids? What lessons, even if they're harsh lessons, what ones do you want to share with them? Tomorrow, my session is with a counselor that helps men get past porn addictions. Had a deep conversation with my oldest son recently because one of his buddies saw something about a porn addiction out on one of my socials. I was vulnerable. I shared my journey. We got deep. We talked about things that truly matter. Those trials, those tribulations, those fires you go through, man, those are great lessons to share with our kiddos. It also humanizes you, connects at a deeper level. They know that they're going to go through it. They know what you've gone through. Connects you pretty darn deeply. So that's number two. Number three is, how are you constantly growing? Are you getting better today? And are you leading by that example? Somebody posted on one of my socials today, more is caught than taught. So true. If you're not leading by example, your legacy is not going to be cemented. How are you growing and getting better daily? I forget where I learned it, but it's a +1 versus a -1. There is no staying the same. So what is a +1, -1? We're back to numbers again. +1 is growth, getting better. If you're not staying the same, there's no way you stay the same. If you think you're staying the same, you're actually getting worse. It's a -1. So you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You know the difference? The difference is 1. The difference is 2 when you think about +1 to -1. So how each day can you step into that growth mindset? Can you step into growth? Can you get a little bit better? How can you challenge your children to operate that same way? How can you pour into them with all those things that you've learned through your life? And when you get on that learning road, when you get a curiosity for knowledge, there's so much out there and you start applying it, then you have powerful experiences to teach your sons and daughters with. And that's what it's about, right? That's creating the legacy, is sharing the journey, operating at a high energy level, constant growth. So important to what we do as a dad. And we have such a big impact. Being a dad is not a spectator sport. You can't punt it and just think that your kids are going to be equipped to attack life, especially in how life is now, by what they're learning from coaches, school, whatever it is. You have to ensure that you're giving them everything you can. That's the warrior dad mentalities. That's the dad mentality I bring to each and every day. I appreciate you listening. Appreciate you watching. Have an amazing rest of your day. Dare to be uncommon. Love, lead, legacy. Create a legendary day. And I'll talk to you soon.